of our previous chapter, States of Matter. Today we will discuss about separation of liquids from solids and separating insoluble solids. We can separate soluble and insoluble solids from liquids by employing simple techniques and obtain clean water. We know that soluble solids like salt and sugar dissolve in water. Insoluble solids like mud and sand do not dissolve in water. So, we use different techniques of separation depending on the nature of the solids. Now, let's discuss some of them. Two simple ways of separating soluble solids from liquid or water are evaporation and distillation. Now, let's see what is evaporation. Evaporation is a very simple method of separating soluble solids from salt, water. So, you have some salty water, but what you need is just the salt. You can simply use the process of evaporation. We need to boil the water so that its temperature rises and it converts into steam. After some time, water turns into vapor and the salt is left behind. So, the process of conversion of water into vapor by heating it to its boiling point is called evaporation. I repeat, the process of conversion of water into vapor by heating it to its boiling point is called evaporation. Now let's see what is distillation. Distillation is another separation technique. Distillation is a method of obtaining pure liquid from a solution. In this process, a solution is heated so that the liquid evaporates. It is carried out in a special apparatus. So, it is carried out in a special apparatus consisting of round bottom flask, water condenser, this is water condenser, receiving flask and a burner. This is burner. So, in distillation, a solution is heated until it starts boiling. The boiling water slowly changes into steam, leaving behind the solute in the flask. The steam passes through the condenser and gets cooled, thereby turning back into liquid water. the separate water gets collected in the receiving flask. So, this method of separation of soluble solids from liquid is called distillation. So, what is distillation? The method of separation of soluble solids from liquid is called distillation. Now, let's see separating insoluble solids from liquids. Insoluble solids in water can be separated by methods like sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. So, what is sedimentation and decantation? These two methods together are suitable for the separation of insoluble solids which are heavier than water. By allowing heavy particles to settle down, clear water can be obtained on top, which is poured into another container. So, the settling down of heavy particles at the bottom of the vessel is called sedimentation. Once all the solids get settled, we pour the clear water at the top of the jar slowly into another jar. So this is called decantation. You can see the picture over here. So these are insoluble impurities. So this is glass rod. So we can pour the pure water to another container and it becomes decantation. For example, we can take water and oil. As we know, water is heavier than oil, so it settles at the bottom if you leave it alone for some time. Once the water settles at the bottom, the oil can be seen floating on top. Then the oil can simply be poured out of the beaker. Now let's see filtration. Filtration. This technique is better as it helps in separation of very small insoluble solids. In this method, the solution is made to pass through filter paper. The filter paper acts as a sieve and does not allow even the smallest particles to pass through it. So, the dirty water can be completely cleaned using a filter paper. This process of using a filter paper to separate an insoluble solid is called filtration. I repeat, the process of using a filter paper to separate an insoluble solid is called filtration. As we can see, there are many different ways of separate substances. So, when there is a mixture of two or more substances, what we can do? We can use these separation techniques to separate them. So, that's all for today's lesson.